Hello everybody and welcome to the British GP here at Silverstone. This upcoming weekend Formula 1 races here in real life. Actually, this video should be going up probably after qualifying on Saturday if I'm not mistaken. So let's see who came out on top there in qualifying. I'm going to take a guess and say Charles Leclerc is going to be my pick. But we are here for the first ever last to first challenge here in F1 22. I don't know if this is going to turn into a series here every time we have a Formula 1 race weekend or not. But if you guys enjoy it, we certainly can turn it into a series here as I am racing as Lewis Hamilton for this last to first challenge. Here's home GP here, doing a medium to soft compound strategy while the AI are doing the reverse. They're doing a soft to a medium compound tire strategy here now for 13 laps around Silverstone as we were already underway. Equal car performance for everybody. So we had our teammate George Russell actually at the front of the grid. Verstappen up there, Perez as well. Even got a McLaren I believe that was Lando Norris. They were 3 wide already though. In the background there is to see Charles Leclerc trying to make his way forward here as his AI is so strong in this F1 22 game so far that I've noticed. Silverstone in this game a lot better than it was in F1 2021. The AI are no longer OP when it comes to this racetrack because if you remember in F1 2021 through cups they were unbelievably fast when you had to always bank out of the throttle. They could always stay basically full throttle through there and basically going towards the end of that second sector in general they were just unbelievably quick here. Now as you can see myself trying to go around the outside, I hadn't gained anything yet, but we're going to pass Zhou Guanyu and go around the outside hopefully of Nicholas Latifi here, the Canadian, as he actually has some wing damage there on the left side. He's going to have to actually come into the pit lane at the end of this first and opening lap, so I'm going to try and go the long way around side by side in the cups right here, and look at that, the AI actually, like I said, they're not OP through there anymore. We make it work now. Latifi fights back here as we head down into the S's section, but fortunately we're going to be able to find ourselves ahead there in that 18th position now, so not as far ahead as I would have already preferred to be here now as we're going to look to the right side of the Spaniard of Carlos Sainz and make a pass on him on that soft compound tire right to the back of the Australian of Ricardo as well as we head down in through the sweeping right-hander towards the final chicane. And overall, you know what, we gained a few spots here towards this final sector. It was a decent lap. There it goes into the pit lane. It looks like Mick Schumacher in the Haas, so that's going to be another free position here. So we actually get out to a pretty decent start here, a really good final half of a lap. Yellow flags though up ahead of us here, and it was actually for the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, who was having an engine failure after just one complete lap here in Silverstone, and you can see everybody gets kind of stuck behind him, and oh my goodness, we gained about what 3-4 positions, but they were all illegal overtakes because they get the yellow flag, so we had to give it up and let them go back by, and Sebastian Vettel Tsunoda's able to get by us, Ricardo and Stroll. We were actually 3 wide with those two into the left-hander, so after all of that absolute mess, we're in P13 here, so it was a pretty decent start, and we're putting up a really good pace on the medium compound tire now as we look to the left of Yuki Tsunoda here, a very sketchy place to try and make a pass, but we make it work up into 12th place now behind the 4-time world champion of Sebastian Vettel. These guys still got quite a bit of pace here in these soft compound tires, and it took me a bit of time here to run down Vettel there in that Aston Martin. Would expect to be able to run that car down if it was realistic performance, no problem, but obviously with it being unequal performance, it's so much difficult to go and pass an Aston Martin compared to what it should be. But you see we make a move to the right side of Vettel here now and actually try to go nearly up the inside of Esteban Ocon in the Alpine, but still wheel to wheel with Vettel here down towards the chicane towards these final couple of corners, and we're going to go the long way around. A lockup right there from Ocon that opens the door for myself to pass both Vettel and Ocon as well, and up in 10th place we go. A great opening couple of laps here, 3 laps down, and we've passed half the grid so far, and we got another 10 laps to make the rest happen, but Max Verstappen, George Russell, they were way out in front of us at this point. You saw some contact right there between Magnussen and Gasly as we were closing up on the Haas and the AlphaTauri very quick here, and was hoping to have a chance to pass them here with the DRS. Now Magnussen really made a mistake, lost the handling of his car there briefly, and that brings me right to the rear end of him here now as we're going to be right there on the back of him. DRS open, no overtake because my battery was already over halfway drained here, and it's so easy, like I said many times so far with F122, to just drain that ERS. Nonetheless though, we complete the pass on Magnussen. I'd throw a little bit of a defensive move, but then he actually comes into the pit lane, so pit stop starting to kick off as we cruise past Gasly a lap later on lap 6 with the DRS once again. So up into 6th place we go. George Russell into the pit lane, bringing Max Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso, a bunch of drivers into the pit lane this lap. Alonso stays out, but Norris stays out, not Alonso, and actually come through to set the fastest lap as we take the lead of the GP as Norris comes into the pit lane. So Verstappen's going to be the first one in line to pass us here now as we come into the pit lane here at the conclusion of lap 8. So make sure we do not speed, of course, and fortunately we do nut, and we're going to come in and put on the soft compound tire here, and actually got an optimal turn in there, so that was nice to get a purple one. It's been very mixed. I haven't gotten green. It's only been purple, or it's been red. I haven't gotten a good one here now, but we are going to come through back onto the racing surface, and you can see it looks like we're going to be about P7. Yes, it is going to be P7. We're way ahead of the Haas of Magnussen and Gasly in the AlphaTauri, so P7 is where we exit here behind Alex Albon in his home GP as well. So many home GPs for a bunch of drivers here on the grid, with Albon, with Hamilton, with Russell, with Norris as well, as we try to close in on that gap. Now the tires had warmed up by the time we come through to lap 10, but we kind of wasted a lot of time here. It was crazy because we passed half the grid in just, what, 3 laps or 4 laps or whatever it was, and now here we are in lap 10, and we still have 6 cars to pass if we want to complete this last to first challenge. All over now the back of Alex Albon, though, coming to just 3 laps to go with the DRS activated. We're going to go around the outside and land on Norris there in 5th place, just in front of us. Hopefully we can pass him into that final turn, and he slows up a little bit, and we're going to be pretty close. A little bit of oversteer for Norris, and that opens the door wide open for us to get the elbows out, go to the right-hand side of the McLaren, and sweep around the outside here now with the preferred lane into the right-hander, and sure enough, we go up into 5th place now. Next objective, Charles Leclerc, but we're running out of time. 4th place just in front of us. There's no way we're going to be able to run down Max Verstappen at this point from the looks of it, even though we have a significant tire advantage here with the soft compound on the car, and just so much grip and so much speed in this soft compound tire. DRS open, trying to close in on Charles Leclerc, but we were running out of time. Here we come through out of the final corner, going a little bit wide right there, actually, with some oversteer. We still set the fastest lap of the GP, up into 5th place, going for 4th here with 2 laps to go. We got to get the elbows out. We got to get aggressive. Leclerc is going to take the normal racing line. I'm going to send one up the inside, almost Daniel Ricciardo-esque, and we take the 4th position. And now we try to run down a podium spot with Fernando Alonso and George Russell, and it wasn't long here towards the final DRS zone on 2 laps to go, approaching this final lap. We're right to the back of Fernando. We're going to go for a move, but he's going to go for a move on Russell, and then he backs out of it, so that completely destroys any progress we could have possibly made right there, and that might have been the deciding factor on if we complete this last to first challenge or not on this final lap right there. We get past Fernando, but it was way more of a hassle than it needed to be. Final lap was underway here, and we're going to have to wait to pass Russell into the DRS zone, so that's going to give us half a lap basically to run down Verstappen, who's nearly 2 seconds ahead of us here. Now look at the gap between myself and Russell. We really need to get a move on with it here because he's quite a ways ahead, but with DRS and overtake on, look at the closing right there. A lunge up the inside of Russell, and we take over that second and runner-up position on this final lap here in the last to first challenge for the first time on F1 22 at Silverstone. Now as we try to run down Max Verstappen. Verstappen versus Hamilton in Britain. Where have we seen this before now? But the gap is 1.6 seconds between myself and Max in the Red Bull. Through Copse for the final time. I didn't get through there very well, missed the apex by a couple of feet there, so we lose a little bit of time, but then we gain it back here down the straightaway about 1.5 seconds as we come through the sweeping left and right handers, and we gain another 10th, but it's not going to be enough. 1.4 now down to 1.3 seconds. No DRS obviously here, just overtake is all we have. We drain the battery on this final lap here in Silverstone, but it's not going to be enough. We close the gap to about 1 second here as we come through the final sweeping right hander, a little bit wide right there, some oversteer on the exit, 0.8 of a second, but it's not going to be enough. Max Verstappen's going to hang on here through the final couple of corners. He's going to win in Silverstone, and in the last of first challenge, we're going to come home for a 2nd place runner-up finish. Overall, a fun last of first challenge here in Britain. Let me know who you guys have winning this weekend here in Britain, and if you enjoyed, you know what to do. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for taking the time of your day for watching. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.